Welcome back to the deep dive. It's really something how fast things can spread online these days, especially about people in the public eye. It feels like sometimes you just don't know what's real and what isn't.
Exactly. The speed is just incredible.
Yeah.
And often accuracy gets left behind. And for famous people, well, they often end up swimming in pure speculation. Wild stuff sometimes.
Definitely. And today we're diving into one of those cases, someone I think pretty much everyone knows, Chef Anne Burrell. You know, the super distinctive spiky blonde hair, that big personality she brings to Food Network, instantly recognizable. But what's really interesting, maybe a bit concerning, are these questions we've seen popping up online about her. Like a lot of questions.
That really caught our attention when we're looking at the online data, the searches. A very specific and, yeah, frankly, alarming pattern around Anne Burrell. It made us think, how does this kind of stuff even start? Especially about someone who seems so well present.
Right. So that's what this deep dive is all about. We're aiming to cut through all that noise. We've really dug into our sources to find out what's actually going on with Anne Burrell. We want to tackle those questions you might have seen head on. We'll lay out what the credible information says, clear up any confusion, and then we can talk about her actual career and impact. We found some pretty interesting things there, too.
Yeah, and when we looked at those search terms, it was striking. Things like Anne Burrell cause of death, or how did Anne Burrell die? Even did Anne Burrell pass away? And these weren't just, one or two searches. They were showing up again and again. Dominant queries.
It's really unsettling to see those phrases associated with her. So let's just get straight to it, okay? Let's clear the air immediately. As of right now, Friday, June 20, 2025, based on everything we've checked, there are 0 credible reports, no official announcements, nothing, confirming that Chef Anne Burrell has passed away.
That's the absolute key point here.
Yes.
She is alive, still going strong. And you have to think, for someone as well known as Anne Burrell, a major Food Network star, if something like that happened, it would be everywhere. Major news outlets, official statements, you'd know. And there's just silence on that front. Complete silence, which in this situation tells you everything.
Exactly. And what about those other things floating around? We saw mentions of like Anne Burrell cancer or questions like, was Anne Burrell sick?
Yeah.
Our sources show there's just nothing to back those up either. Purely unsubstantiated rumors.
Right. No credible basis for those claims at all. What was interesting, though, something our sources kind of pointed towards, was this pattern. It seems like figures with really distinct looks, almost like caricatures, like Anne's famous hair. They sometimes become targets for this stuff. It's like their image is so fixed in people's minds that if they're maybe not on TV for a bit or just less visible for a moment, this weird sort of online anxiety kicks in, and people jump to the most dramatic conclusion, like a gap filled with bad news. We saw that kind of pattern with a few other profiles we looked at.
That's a fascinating, if slightly disturbing, insight into how these things spread. Okay, so it's really good to put those rumors firmly to bed. Anne Burrell is alive and well. So knowing that, what did the sources tell us about the real Anne Burrell? Beyond the online weirdness, what makes her tick?
Well, that's where the story gets much better. First off, yes, the look is iconic, that hair. But the sources really emphasize her personality, that, vibrant energy. It seems genuinely hers, not just an act for the camera, and that's a huge part of why people connect with her. She's a fan favorite, consistently.
Oh, yeah, you can feel that energy even through the screen. It's totally infectious.
Yeah.
And that energy, combined with, let's be clear, some serious cooking skills, that's made her a cornerstone of Food Network. Right?
Absolutely. Think about worst cooks in America. She's tough, sure, but also really encouraging. She actually teaches people. She takes these home cooks who are, let's face it, disasters and transforms them. And then you have shows like Chef Wanted with Anne Burrell. That draws on her deeper restaurant background, mentoring up-and-coming chefs.
That practical side is key, isn't it? It's not just about personality. You get the sense that everything she does on screen comes from, well, real training and experience. Solid foundation.
Exactly right. That culinary training gives her the authority, the credibility. It allows her to connect with everyone, from pros to people just starting out in their own kitchens. And speaking of connections, the sources also highlight her place within that Food Network family.
Yeah, you see her interacting with the other big names all the time, like Guy Fieri or doing battles with Bobby Flay.
It shows the kind of respect she has in that world. She's often mentioned alongside other big influences, like Rachel Ray, for example. And connecting that to the bigger picture, something our sources really brought out, was how she's consistently worked to make maybe complex cooking seem less intimidating. breaking down techniques, making gourmet food feel more achievable for regular people,
Hmm.
but without dumbing it down. That philosophy, beyond just the TV shows, has actually had a pretty significant quiet impact on home cooking.
That's a really great point. It's about accessibility, not just entertainment. And what about her life outside the kitchen? People are often curious. Our sources do confirm her personal life details, like her marriage to Stuart Claxton. She seems to manage that public-private balance quite well, still very much in the spotlight, career-wise, but building her personal life too.
Yeah, and it all adds up. Her enduring popularity, her real influence on food and cooking, and even things like her net worth, which reflects a very successful long-running career. It all points to a substantial impact. She's built a real culinary brand, built on actual skill and a genuine passion for food.
So let's just circle back and state it one more time, crystal clear based on our deep dive. Chef Anne Burrell is absolutely alive, kicking, and still a major force in the food world. Still cooking, still teaching, still rocking that amazing hair.
Definitely. And this whole exercise, this deep dive, it really does make you think about misinformation, how fast it spreads online. It's a serious reminder, isn't it? Always check the source. Think critically before you believe or share some random thing you see online, no matter how many times it pops up.
Absolutely. And maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on. Think about the strange pressures on public figures today in this digital age. Their health, their careers, sometimes even just whether they're still around, it can all become fodder for speculation, often totally baseless speculation. It's almost like their public image becomes this separate thing detached from reality. It really does underline that responsibility we all have, to seek out credible information and maybe just resist clicking share on something unverified.